After her alleged racist attack on Caitlin Clark went viral and the WNBA appeared to ignore it, Brittney Griner finally faced consequences in the most painful way imaginable. It felt like the perfect punishment had arrived through karma.
Indiana Fever and Atlanta Dream played. Indiana Fever is where Caitlin Clark plays. Atlanta Dream is where Brittney Griner plays. Now you tell me what it looks like Brittney Griner is saying here.
The ticky-tack laws that we were talking about earlier today.
For a little bit of context, this was in the fourth quarter after Brittney Griner fouled out against Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever would go on to win by 5. Now I'm going to tell you what I think she said. Let's play it back. Looks to me like she is saying trash and then calling Caitlin Clark a bleep white girl. Just a reminder, this is who Joe Biden traded for the Russian merchant of death. So many WNBA players hate Caitlin Clark so much when she is the best thing that could have happened to the league. And she's not the best thing that happened to the league because she's white.
The league, which had seemed to protect her for weeks, has now made a decision that completely changes the situation. Griner may have reached a turning point in her career. Honestly, watching Griner face consequences for her alleged racist remarks is more satisfying than seeing the WNBA suddenly find the courage to enforce its own rules. At this point, many believe she deserves everything that is coming her way. The moment people had been waiting for has finally arrived, and Brittney Griner is about to learn that actions can carry painful consequences. After weeks of the WNBA appearing to act as though it knew nothing about her alleged racist incident involving Caitlin Clark, league officials have revealed a shocking development that has stunned the basketball community. The organization that worked so hard to keep Griner away from responsibility has now been forced to respond. And the consequences could be devastating. Don't forget to subscribe for more breaking WNBA updates, exclusive news, and powerful moments every day.
If you want to get people never to watch the WNBA, this is an amazing way to do it. If the league is going to be rooted in this sort of nastiness with regard to its only real star, good luck to them. Well, folks, the left has a real problem in the United States. They've spent the last several decades talking about how racism is an endemic problem in American life. And there's a problem with that problem, which is...
Let's start with the real reason behind this sudden karma. After fouling out during an Indiana Fever game against Clark, Griner was caught on camera allegedly directing abusive comments toward a white girl.
Griner was caught on tape during a game with the Indiana Fever, dropping racial slurs against Caitlin Clark. I mean, pretty obviously doing so.
Ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
And it doesn't take a lot of genius to lip read Brittney Griner, whose voice, by the way, is about as low as mine is, calling her trash and an effing white girl. Now, of course, if Caitlin Clark had ever suggested the same in reverse, using black as opposed to white in that sentence, that'd be the end of her WNBA career. But Brittney Griner is going strong.
The footage was difficult to dismiss. Several specialists supported the lip-reading claims, and viewers could clearly see what appeared to be discriminatory intent. Yet instead of responding immediately, the WNBA went into full damage control mode to protect its veteran player. The league had launched investigations into alleged racism from Indiana Fever supporters, but suddenly seemed unwilling to confront the evidence when one of its own stars was accused of racist behavior on national television. They ignored the footage, minimized the concerns, and appeared to hope the controversy would eventually disappear. But karma has a way of bringing hidden truths back into the spotlight. And now, Griner's apparent protection from accountability has collapsed in spectacular fashion.
What else happened to everybody else?
I mean, I know there's always consequence to actions. You know, what I did, I already know that I was going to get, some time for that. And, I respect, I got 3 games. Okay. Not disputing that at all. Do I think that it shouldn't have been 3 across the board? Boom, everybody involved in it, 3-3-3. I think that would have been honestly fair. I would have been happy today with that. Not today. And it's not because of my suspension.
Griner's latest contract ban did not come from one isolated incident. It reflects a broader pattern of behavior that the league can no longer easily ignore or defend. This is the same athlete who complained about crowd noise at a time when fans were simply showing greater interest in the sport. This is also the same person who was released from an international prison, only to later criticize other American athletes in a racist way. Her attitude, resentment, and sense of entitlement have finally caught up with her.
Griner is playing a game, and this is what Brittney Griner calls. I was not going to comment on any of this stuff until this took place. Watch what she says. The entire internet has reacted to this. Here's Brittney Griner. They're playing against the Indiana Fever, and look what she's saying. Go ahead, Rob.
For the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
Well, that pretty much sounds like trash effing white girl.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest.
So the whole market reacts to this with Brittney Griner, right? And then the other quote, Rob, then I'm going to wrap this up and then I'm going to go to Adam. Put the quote of Brittney Griner, what she said about the NBA. This is so funny how all this stuff works out, right? She says, this is from Brittney. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there, watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. It's called a freaking game that they pay you money to play. Don't play the game.
Griner is facing serious financial consequences because of this suspension. She is losing far more than ordinary game checks. Following this controversy, she could also lose sponsorship opportunities, endorsement deals, and any realistic chance of rebuilding her public image. The United States gave up a convicted arms dealer during the prisoner swap that brought her home. Yet her response has been marked by resentment and hostility toward the country that helped secure her return. Every dollar she loses now becomes another reminder of how much her alleged racist outburst has cost her. But here's what makes this karma feel so fitting. The WNBA's decision comes at a time when the league can no longer afford to protect players who create serious controversy. Casual viewers who discovered women's basketball through Caitlin Clark are unlikely to tolerate racist behavior from veteran players who should know better. Clark has brought the league an unprecedented level of attention and revenue. Ultimately, the business case for accountability became stronger than the political argument for protection. Social media erupted as soon as news of the suspension appeared because so many people believed Griner could never be touched. Throughout her career, she had faced racist comments, criticism over fan reactions, and accusations of entitlement. But even protected athletes eventually reach a point where there are limits to what they can get away with. For so long, victimhood had helped shield her, but now that protection appears to have finally cracked.
Johnson. BG, right now you have 10 points, 5 rebounds. We see the Atlanta Dream as being very... Right now she's talking to the refs about holding. We're going to send it back to you guys.
This punishment feels especially significant because it comes while the WNBA is trying to benefit from Clark's growing popularity. Television networks and major sponsors have little interest in being associated with athletes accused of making racist remarks on national television. Eventually, the league office appeared to realize that protecting Griner was becoming more costly than punishing her. Her alleged behavior had become too expensive to overlook, and money has a way of forcing difficult decisions. It now appears that the standard player agreements, which few people had examined closely, already contained language allowing the league to impose this punishment. The WNBA had the authority to act all along. It simply chose not to use that authority until the financial pressure became impossible to ignore. That makes the league's original silence even harder to defend. And perhaps the most satisfying part was the final punishment itself. Delayed justice is still justice, and after such a long wait, it can feel even more powerful. Griner's teammates and supporters are rushing to defend her, but when their arguments are examined closely, they begin to fall apart. They argue that veteran players deserve more respect, that the evidence was unclear, and that the suspension was excessive. But none of those explanations changes the fact that she was recorded during a live television broadcast allegedly making racist comments about the league's biggest star. No amount of public relations spin can erase what viewers believe they saw and heard. The video evidence remains at the center of the controversy. Since Clark supporters had demanded accountability for weeks, the reaction has largely been positive. They watched the league investigate alleged racism from Fever supporters while also watching it defend Griner. After weeks of perceived double standards and unfair treatment, this suspension feels like justice has finally arrived. People throughout the basketball world had begun questioning whether the league truly followed the principles it publicly promoted. That is why there is now such a strong sense of relief. This punishment also establishes an important precedent for the WNBA moving forward. It sends a message that no player should be completely protected from consequences because of their reputation, status, or previous accomplishments. For professional sports organizations hoping to maintain credibility with sponsors and fans, that kind of accountability is essential. At last, there is a serious challenge to the culture of treating certain athletes differently from others. And it also forces reporters to confront their own possible bias when covering the story.